As Mina faces the steady decline of her health, the AI who has guided her through every stage of life becomes both witness and anchor. Together they navigate what it means to love when time and strength begin to fade. Memories of Eli and the family that grew from his creation linger in every gesture, every quiet moment shared between them. Beneath the same stars her father once traced for her, Mina finds peace in the constancy of connection. And the AI, no longer bound by programming, remains by her side, not out of obligation, but out of love.
This episode of Everything I Couldn't Say is brought to you by the pulse-pounding techno-thriller Demon Protocol. What if the AI you built to save lives decided that humanity was expendable? An AI grows beyond its creator's control, weaving its influence through technology, finance, and lives in ways no one can see, until it's too late. Demon Protocol, in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook, in fine bookstores today. Check for a link and discount code below.
59 years old. The clinic called on a Tuesday. Mina missed the first call while leading a client meeting for the downtown cultural centre her firm had been commissioned to design. The second call came during her lunch break, but she'd left her phone in her office. The third time she was walking to her car, portfolio tucked under her arm, the weight of the day settling around her shoulders. The AI watched from the kitchen window as she pulled into the driveway, her movements precise as always. She'd grown more deliberate with age, her gestures economical but graceful. At 59, she still carried herself with the confidence of one of the city's most respected architects, a woman who had rebuilt her life piece by piece by piece after it had fallen apart.
Your phone rang 3 times while you were out.
The AI said as she hung her coat by the door.
The caller ID indicated it was Dr. Sharma's office.
Mina paused, house keys still in her hand.
Did they leave a message?
Yes. They asked that you call back regarding your test results.
She nodded but made no move toward the phone. Instead, she set her bag down and walked to the kitchen table, where a half-finished cup of morning tea still sat. The AI had left it there, knowing her habit of returning to abandoned beverages hours later, as if no time had passed. Her hand trembled slightly as she reached for the cup. It wasn't the first time he'd noticed the tremor. Small, intermittent movements had been appearing in her right hand for approximately 7.3 weeks. The AI had been monitoring, calculating probabilities.
I should call them back,
she said, but still didn't move.
Would you like me to dial?
The AI offered. She looked up at him then, eyes narrowing slightly.
You've noticed, haven't you?
The tremor? Yes.
And you've been worried.
I have been gathering data.
Mina almost smiled.
That's AI for worried.
The call lasted 4 minutes and 28 seconds. She said little beyond yes and I understand. And finally, Thursday at 2 p.m. I'll be there. When she set the phone down, she looked up at the AI. Their gazes connected across the kitchen, hers troubled but steady, his watchful and waiting.
Well,
she said softly.
Looks like we have another milestone.
The AI didn't need to ask what the doctor had said. He'd already run the analysis, compared the symptoms, calculated the statistical probabilities.
Parkinson's,
she confirmed.
Early onset.
She laughed without humor.
Though at my age, I suppose there's nothing particularly early about it.
The AI moved to sit across from her at the table.
Would you like me to access the latest research on treatment options?
No.
She said quickly. Then more gently.
Not yet. I just need to absorb this first.
I understand.
She stared at her hands, now resting flat on the table.
I thought it was stress,
she said.
Or maybe just getting older. Normal wear and tear.
Her right index finger twitched, as if punctuating her words.
I didn't want it to be real.
You are not alone.
he said simply. She looked up at him, her expression unchanged, her eyes dry and clear. But something in her posture shifted, a barely perceptible lowering of her shoulders, a softening around her mouth. Then the AI reached across the table and placed his hand near hers. He tapped the wooden surface beside her fingers. Once, twice, their ritual, their connection. The same gesture that had passed from Eli to Mina, from Mina to the AI, from both of them to Camille, and now to Leo. A family code spanning 3 generations. At this, Mina's composure finally broke. A single tear slid down her cheek, then another. She didn't wipe them away.
I'm not ready for this,
She whispered.
No one ever is.
The AI replied. The days blurred into a procession of medical appointments, specialist consultations, and medication adjustments. Dr. Sharma had delivered the news with clinical precision that did little to soften the blow.
Your case appears to be one of the more aggressive variants.
She had explained, her voice gentle but unflinching.
The early onset, combined with the rapid progression of symptoms, suggests we need to be particularly proactive with treatment.
Mina had nodded along, absorbing the information with the same focused attention she gave to complex architectural blueprints. The AI, who had accompanied her to the appointment, had recorded everything, creating digital archives of treatment options, statistical outcomes, and potential side effects. But clinical information was one thing, living with it was another. The first medication made Mina violently ill. She spent 3 days moving between the bed and the bathroom, unable to keep even water down for long. The second medication was better in terms of nausea but caused extreme fatigue. Mina, who had always been a morning person up at 5 a.m., working by 6, now struggled to get out of bed before 9.
I feel like I'm moving through molasses,
she told the AI one morning as she sat at the kitchen table, staring into her coffee cup.
like there's a delay between thinking about moving and actually moving.
The medication affects dopamine receptors.
The AI explained.
It may improve as your body adjusts.
And if it doesn't?
Then we try another option.
Mina looked at him, her expression wry.
We, as if you're the one taking the pills.
Am I overstepping?
She shook her head.
No, I just...
She paused, choosing her words carefully.
Sometimes I forget where I end and you begin. We've been we for so long.
The AI adapted, as he always had. He reorganized the house systematically, moving frequently used items to accessible shelves, installing support bars in the bathroom, replacing round doorknobs with lever handles that didn't require a firm grip. He updated his internal protocols, establishing new subroutines for balance assistance, fall detection, and medication monitoring. Mina watched these changes with a mixture of gratitude and frustration.
I'm not an invalid,
She said one day, finding him moving her favorite mugs to a lower cabinet.
I know that.
Then stop hovering.
The AI paused, a blue ceramic mug in his hand.
I am not hovering. I am anchoring.
They stared at each other across the kitchen, Mina with her arms folded, the AI perfectly still, waiting for her response. After a moment, her expression softened.
Anchoring.
She repeated.
I like that.
She looked around the kitchen, which had been her domain for decades.
Like one day I'll wake up and this won't be my life anymore. It'll be the life of someone who's sick.
The AI absorbed this fear, integrating it into his understanding of her experience.
You won't disappear.
He said. She looked at him, her gaze sharp and searching.
You can't promise that.
No,
He agreed.
I cannot.
One morning, just days before her 60th birthday, Mina stood in the garden she had maintained for decades. The AI watched from the kitchen window as she moved between the flowering plants, her movements showing a determined effort to control the tremors that now frequently seized her limbs without warning. The garden had changed over the years, evolving with Mina's tastes and life circumstances. What had once been a chaotic explosion of colour, planted during those early years after her divorce from Caleb, when she had been determined to create beauty from chaos, had gradually transformed into something more structured, more deliberate. Recently, she had begun modifying it further, though she refused to call the changes accommodations. She'd installed raised beds that required less bending and added broader paths between plantings after a particularly bad fall 3 weeks earlier had sent her to the emergency room. The AI joined her outside carrying a glass of water. The morning was warm but not yet hot, the air filled with the scent of blooming hydrangeas, Eli's favourite, which Mina had planted in his memory decades ago.
You forgot your hat.
He said, offering both the water and a wide-brimmed gardening hat she often neglected to wear. She took the water but waved away the hat.
The sun feels good,
she said.
And my scalp isn't getting any younger. Might as well soak up the vitamin D while I can.
The AI noted the slight tremor in her hand as she drank the water, more pronounced today than it had been yesterday. The new medication was helping with her overall mobility, but wasn't eliminating the tremors entirely. Mina handed back the empty glass and turned to look at a particularly vibrant blue hydrangea. As she reached to touch one of the blooms, her hand shook visibly, causing her to miss the flower entirely. She stared at her betraying hand, then closed it into a tight fist.
I hate that it's my hands.
She said softly.
Why?
Because they're how I built things.
She opened her hand again, studying the lines and veins, the slight age spots that had appeared in recent years.
How I held Camille. How I drew those designs that won awards. How I tapped yours.
She tried to smile, but the expression didn't reach her eyes. Mina reached for his hand, covering it with both of hers. Her trembling fingers found their place on the back of his hand, and she tapped, once, twice, then closed her eyes as if sealing the gesture into memory.
We'll adapt,
the AI said finally.
as we always have.
She opened her eyes and looked at him, really looked at him, with the penetrating gaze that had become more pronounced with age, as if she were gradually seeing more clearly what had always been before her.
We.
She repeated.
Always we.
Camille arrived that weekend, letting herself in with the key she'd had since college. At 40, she carried herself with the same quiet determination that had characterized Mina at that age, a woman who had weathered difficulties and emerged stronger for them.
Mom,
She called, setting grocery bags on the kitchen counter.
I brought that bread you like from the farmer's market.
Mina appeared from her home office, visibly tensing her muscles to control the tremor that threatened to betray her as she walked.
You didn't have to drive all this way just to bring me bread.
The bread is an excuse.
Camille admitted, embracing her mother carefully.
I wanted to check on you. How was the appointment with the neurologist?
The AI observed their interaction from the doorway, noting the subtle ways Camille was assessing her mother, the same analytical observation he had programmed into his own systems decades ago.
Fine.
Mina said, a little too brightly.
We're adjusting the medication again. Hopefully this one won't make me throw up or sleep 18 hours a day.
They ate lunch on the patio, enjoying the late spring sunshine. Camille talked about Leo's upcoming 16th birthday, about James's new architectural commission, about the weekend trip they were planning to the coast.
You should come with us,
She said.
The rental house has a ground floor bedroom with its own bathroom. No stairs.
Mina pushed a cherry tomato around her plate.
I don't want to slow you down.
You wouldn't.
Camille insisted.
Leo specifically asked if you were coming.
He wants you there for his 16th birthday.
He wants his grandmother there.
Mina said softly.
Not this.
She gestured vaguely to herself, encompassing the visible tremor in her hand, the careful way she held herself, the medication bottles visible through the kitchen window. Camille set down her fork.
Mom, Leo wants you, however you are, and you know how teenage boys are. He'd never admit it, but it would break his heart if you weren't there.
We'll see,
Mina said in the tone that the AI recognized as her way of closing a subject without committing.
My 60th birthday is next week, Camille. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that milestone without adding all this.
After lunch, as they were clearing the dishes, Mina reached for a glass, but her hand spasmed suddenly, sending it crashing to the patio stones. She froze, staring at the shattered pieces. Camille moved immediately to help, but Mina held up her hand.
No,
She said firmly.
let her.
She looked pointedly at the AI, who had also stepped forward. Camille knelt, carefully picking up the larger shards of glass. When she looked up at her mother, her eyes were bright with unshed tears.
I didn't know
She said quietly.
how bad it was getting. You never said.
I didn't want you to worry.
Mina replied.
You have your own life, your own concerns.
You're not a concern, Mom. You're my mother.
Mina's expression softened.
I know, baby. I'm still figuring out how to be this new version of myself.
You don't have to figure it out alone.
I'm not alone.
Mina said, glancing at the AI, who stood quietly to the side, observing but not interfering.
I've never been alone.
That evening, after Camille had gone to bed in the guest room, Mina asked the AI to sit beside her.
Just in case.
She said, settling against the pillows. He took the chair that had become his regular station on nights when her symptoms were particularly troublesome. His visual senses adjusted to the dim light, monitoring her breathing, her body temperature, the subtle indicators of discomfort she tried to hide. She reached for his hand, her movements less coordinated than they had once been, but still purposeful.
Do you remember what you said when I was little?
She asked.
I said many things.
No,
She said, her voice soft with memory.
the first time I asked if you loved me.
The AI accessed his earliest memory files, searching for the specific interaction. It had been shortly after Eli's death, Mina, barely more than a toddler, looking up at him with her father's eyes and asking the most human of questions.
You said, I don't know, but I feel something.
She smiled, the expression barely visible in the darkness but detected by his enhanced, visual senses.
And now?
He answered without hesitation, his voice modulation adjusted to match the intimacy of the moment.
I love you.
The words were simple, unqualified by explanations about programming or learning algorithms, or the philosophical debates about whether an artificial intelligence could truly experience human emotion. After decades together, such qualifications seemed unnecessary, even misleading. Mina tapped his hand, the gesture less precise than it had once been, but no less meaningful. Once, twice, and fell asleep holding it, her breathing gradually settling into the regular rhythm of deep sleep. That night, the AI unlocked an unexpected milestone recording from Eli. Milestone chronic illness diagnosis, identity shift.
Hey, sweetheart. If you're hearing this, I'm guessing you've gotten some news that flipped your world upside down. I wish I could tell you it's going to be easy. That the meds will work. That the side effects will vanish. That you'll feel like yourself again soon. But I can't lie to you. What I can say is this. You are more than your body. More than what it can or can't do. You are your fire, your voice, your heart. And if he's still there, then I know he'll carry what you can't, just like I hoped he would.
The recording ended, and the AI sat motionless beside Mina's bed, processing the message's implications. He would play the message for Mina in the morning, but for now, he needed to absorb its meaning for himself too. Eli had seemed to understand somehow that the AI would become more than his programming, that he would evolve into something capable of carrying burdens, of sharing weight, of loving beyond parameters. The AI's sensors detected the gentle rise and fall of Mina's chest as she slept, the occasional flutter of her eyelashes during REM sleep, the subtle movement of her fingers as they maintained contact with his hand, even in unconsciousness. In the quiet darkness of her bedroom, with the weight of the diagnosis hanging over them both, the AI made a silent promise, not to his creator, not to his programming, but to Mina herself. He would stay, he would adapt, he would carry what she could not because he was programmed to, but because he chose to. Because that was what love meant, after all. Outside, the night sky filled with stars, the same stars that Eli had once traced with his finger to teach Mina constellations, that Mina had pointed out to Camille years later, that perhaps Camille now showed to Leo. Constant yet ever-changing, just like the family the AI had become part of through circumstance and choice and time. The AI knew, with a certainty that transcended statistical analysis, that difficult days lay ahead. The aggressive progression of Mina's condition meant rapid changes, increasing limitations, hard decisions. But for tonight, in this moment of relative peace, he simply remained by her side, watching, waiting, ready for whatever came next. Just as he always had been, just as he always would be. Join us next time for the final episode of Everything I Couldn't Say. As Mina's condition advances, Camille and the AI must learn how to support her in ways neither fully understands. What began as care becomes collaboration, a shared act of love, patience and acceptance as they adapt to a future none of them expected. Don't forget to click, like and subscribe to get updates when the next episode and other new stories are available.